Hey students, it's Dr. Gatling. Wanted to take a few minutes this week and talk a little bit about my research, which is really centered around workplace spirituality. But I also do research on spiritual leadership, so I thought it was a good idea to sort of insert, a little bit on workplace spirituality this week since we're talking about the domains of leadership. Spiritual leadership or workplace spirituality. Is a brand new theory of leadership, and there has been not so much done in hospitality relative to these theories. Most of the research has come from the organizational domain and the management domains. Although there is some that's done in the domain of psychology. There's some research that's being done in that particular area. But I am working to bring this concept of workplace spirituality and spiritual leadership to the hospitality side of academia. In fact, I just had a paper accepted at the Journal of Human Resources and Hospitality and Tourism, and I also had a paper and a poster accepted at the iCRE conference that I'm going to be presenting at in San Diego in July. So I'm starting to, get my name out there relative to developing scholarship around this particular topic. So workplace spirituality, it is also synonymous with spirit at work. Basically covers three dimensions. And let me first start by just saying that anytime I bring up, the idea of spirituality, I almost always hear back, some reference to religion. And one of the things that I'm going to do at this conference is make sure that I'm able to differentiate spirituality from religion. Now, you can have spirituality without religion. It's probably difficult to have religion without spirituality. But in the context of my research, I define workplace spirituality on three different levels. First, being the individual level, meaningful work. I think it's important that hospitality employees, in particular, find meaning and purpose in what they do. I truly believe that acts of hospitality are spiritual in nature. Seeing to the care and comfort of people, nourishing and delighting people. In my view, are spiritual acts. Attending to the details of people's needs and wants. One of the things about hospitality business is that when people come to us, they're not window shopping. They're not browsing. They come to us in need. And to the extent that we can encourage our employees to see these opportunities that we have to make a positive impact on individuals coming into hospitality restaurants, I think that there's a tremendous amount of intrinsic value there for the employee and for the manager. So meaningful work, I think hospitality work is extremely meaningful, both personally and professionally. Sense of community on the group level. What I'm getting at here is really this need for connectedness. We all have, I believe, within us this desire to be connected to something that's greater, than ourselves. And I think I had mentioned that I did a research project with Starbucks recently, where I surveyed 200 of their frontline supervisors, and I surveyed them on these three things of work, these three dimensions of workplace spirituality. And it's so interesting, the Starbucks culture, if you know anything about it. They have such a strong sense of community, not only at the local level, but regionally, nationally, and even globally. So they connect their employees and link them to purpose that's far beyond what they do every day, and really helps them to see their contribution to the broader community. And then at the organizational level, values are so important. And when an individual feels as if their own values are connected or aligned with the organization's values, it also works to connect them to the mission and the goals of the organization. Employees tend to see that as being extremely valuable in terms of their commitment to the organization. So that's a little bit about workplace spirituality, or at least how I choose to define it in my research. Moving on to servant leadership. There's a lot that's been done relative to servant leadership. It too is a very new theory of leadership, and it really does help organizations and individuals understand leadership from a different perspective. I once interviewed with Starbucks for a job. This was probably 10 years ago. And one of the things that I was amazed about relative to their culture is that they really work to have a bottom-up culture. So in other words, it wasn't necessarily the senior leaders that were making the decision whether to hire me. It was actually the people that would be working for me. But the underlying premise here is that the leader works for the subordinates, as opposed to the subordinate working for the leader. So servant leadership is a very interesting area of research and study, and I just wanted to share a little bit about that with you here in this particular presentation. Now, spiritual leadership is a very, very new concept. I'm trying to expand the model here so that you can see it. But Jody Fry has been on the front lines of this concept of spiritual leadership, and his model is the most researched model that's out there, and it really speaks to some very fundamental principles related to spirituality, and connects them to the mission of the organization. It connects employees and managers to the values of the organization, and it really speaks to, I think, this whole idea of meaning and purpose. But it does it in a way that adds a hierarchical dimension called calling. I mean, we're all, based on this theory, we are all called to do certain things in our lives, and when we find that calling, I'll give you a great example. I know for a fact that the calling on my life has been definitely related to hospitality. It's a place where I've had the opportunity to make a difference, both in industry and now in academia, and it really has added a lot of meaning and purpose to my life. So sometimes connecting people to this sense of purpose and meaning allows us to even take it even higher in terms of connecting them to what's called calling. Membership, sort of related to sense of community, but we all want to belong to something, that's greater than us, that's significant. We all want to be understood. We all want to be appreciated. I'm not going to go through every dimension of spiritual leadership, and this is posted, as you can see, in the course module. And then lastly, spiritual intelligence, which I haven't had an opportunity yet to do a research project, but I am talking to a few individuals that may be interested in measuring the spiritual intelligence of leaders. And one of the things that I'm looking at here is in the healthcare area. There is certainly a lot of literature that links spirituality, workplace spirituality, spiritual leadership to healthcare. And, spiritual intelligence, the four dimensions being critical existential thinking, personal meaning production, transcendental awareness. That's to me, that's such a huge element. And then, of course, conscious state of expansion. So I wanted to share this with you, spend a few minutes chatting about a few of these. Again, this is all posted in the in the course module. So just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what I was talking about here. If you have any questions related to spiritual leadership or any of the other areas, whether it be spiritual intelligence or workplace spirituality, please let me know. Looking forward to another great week with you this week, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.